Hey, this is Pretty Kitty. Welcome back to my channel. Have you ever saw or watched a professional artist draw and they began drawing things out with shapes? You wonder, how did they come up with those ideas, or how did they even conjure up that scene in their head? Well, I want to show you a quick little technique that I picked up on how I use shapes to find ideas. And by the way, if you are interested in free things, there is a freebie at the end of this video. So I'd stick around if I were you. So first things first, we're using these things called thumbnails. And with these thumbnails, you want to start small. Thumbnails should be really, really tiny pictures, because if an image is legible, extremely tiny, then they're definitely legible when they're blown up. And that is the best way to figure out what works and what doesn't in a quick amount of time. So you start small, number one, because you want to be able to lay out, not even details, but lay out the general information fast. Number two, you do not want to go into details. You want to keep an open mind, and you don't want to be precious with your work either. So for my technique, I'm using a flat brush, and it's just a flat brush that's angled at like a certain, about 45 degrees. It's not really that big of a deal of like what it is, but use something that is, that's worth it for you and that works for you. And the reason why I use a flat brush is because it allows me to explore different ideas and explore and carve out different shapes. And I'm also able to cover the file a little bit easier. So for discovery, I like to look at these shapes. I want to study them, and then I will define it later. So for example, with one of the thumbnails that I'm doing is I will take a shape, I'll draw a general idea out. I might like that shape, or I want to explore with it further. Then I'll go on and lay in more shapes, more details, more little things like that. I use the eraser and the painting or drawing tool equally, because that allows me to carve out ideas, and I'm able to just lay something down and work with it. Also with the flat brush, I'm using kind of like a painterly tool, so I'm able to mess with opacity, and I'm able to mess with values as well. And so I might draw a huge mass, like whatever that mass may be. I just draw a huge mass, and then I will start erasing from it. So why am I using this method as opposed to, like I'm using this method digitally instead of doing it traditionally? Well, why? It's definitely quicker than paints and traditional medium. I'm a lot less precious with my little thumbnails, and I'm able to use layers. So let's say, for example, I am working on a layer. I like the layer, but I don't know what to do with it, but I want to explore different possibilities of that layer. I'll just duplicate that layer and start building on the next copy of the layer and just do something awesome with that. And also, the discoverability is a lot easier for me. I've worked with thumbnails using like pencil and pen and all this other good stuff, but for some reason, I just like doing it digitally. But you can utilize these techniques and utilize this way with whatever medium that you choose to do. So creating ideas is an ongoing problem, especially for people like me. I have trouble with my composition. I have trouble with discovering new shapes. I have trouble figuring out how to work things out. It is interesting. It's interesting to say the least, because that's what breaks me down as an artist, is my inability to create a scene that is visually pleasing from, real life and my own imagination. That is one of the things that bothers me, because I want to get better at my backgrounds as opposed to my characters, because I feel like my characters are just fine. Everybody's a character artist these days, but getting the backgrounds and the environments where your characters can happily interact in and believably interact in, that's a big deal. Once you go into backgrounds and you go into utilizing their surroundings, that is when you create a story. That is when good things happen. So I'm trying to focus on my backgrounds as an artist, and I want to be able to do that on a small scale without a lot of commitment to time. And what I mean by commitment to time is I don't want to commit to a large painting trying to get better at my backgrounds. I want to get the fundamentals down. And when I get the fundamentals down, that's when I can actually commit time-wise into a larger painting. So everything that you're seeing here is just me discovering. All I'm doing is I'm laying down marks after marks after marks, and then I'm looking at it and I'm looking at whatever it is that I'm working on, and I'm just like, well, what happens if I do this? Or where would I place a character? Or how would it look if I erased this part? Or, just asking what if questions and just being present in the moment. But that's kind of all I have for you today. I'm just using this method, and I'm developing it more as I go, and I'm learning from other artists as I go as well. And the more I learn, the more I can share with you guys. So I have a question of the day, super quick. What do you do to find, or how do you find ideas for your artwork? Share them with me in the comments below, because I think many, many, many artists would definitely benefit from a new way of finding ideas. Now, I didn't forget about that freebie. So if you go to prettykittycommissions.com/shop, you'll be able to check out my free resources, and I have over 30 thumbnails that I've worked on, that I enjoy, that I think you guys could super benefit from and can seriously benefit from. And you'll be able to utilize those thumbnails to enhance your work. Most of them that you've seen are actually in the file. So I hope you guys enjoy that. These tiny thumbnails, you can take them, you can use them, you can make a painting out of them. But I would like to encourage you to take these thumbnails and build upon them. Copy it, build upon it, and create your own thumbnails and do something awesome with that. With that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have any suggestions, feel free to let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys on Sunday. Have a pretty kitty kind of day, and take care.